I just want to do God's will.
The kind of revolution that the world needs is a Christian revolution.
If you want a miracle, you've got to expect it to happen.
You're the recipients of God's grace and God's blessings, and you rejoice in that reality.
Welcome to Life Today Live. I'm Randy Robinson. How's your day going? You having a good day? You having a rough one? I mean, I get it. We all have those. All of us, some days. But are they really bad days? Or is it just a matter of perspective? How can you maybe change some things in your mindset and in your life to turn those bad days into not bad days, right? We're going to talk about that today. In fact, my guest today has a book out, just out, that's called No Bad Days. And when you hear the story of J.T. Mestdagh, you are going to be amazed that he says that. And I think it will encourage you because I don't know any way to be tactful about this, but sometimes, you know, we can get a pity party. And when you just look around you and you go, man, some people have it rougher than I do, it can hopefully correct your attitude a little bit. And frankly, JT's been through a lot of difficulties. So appreciate you guys being here. JT, most of all, I appreciate you being here. How you doing, sir?
Thank you so much, Randy. I'm so excited to be here and share a little bit about No Bad Days and just why that's such an important message in my life.
It is. And, you know, I love your attitude. It is so right. And I'm encouraged by that. But is it kind of fair to say that you've been through a lot of difficulty?
I've been through a few challenges, but I think we all have our own challenges, right, in life. But and it's I always say that looking at my challenges or looking at someone else who has much bigger challenges and difficulties in life, that it's all perspective and your time of life, and we have to be meaningful during that time for others, and just know that even though their challenge might not be as big as ours, or it is bigger than ours, that we have to, respect them and help them and support them the same way.
Yeah, and we know that God's bigger than all of them. But walk us through some of what you've been through, just so people understand, because it puts a kick behind the title of the book, I think.
Yeah, so my journey starts off at birth. I was born with vectoral syndrome, which is a birth defect that affects your GI system primarily. And so from the top of my esophagus all the way down was compromised. I had tracheoesophageal fistulas, and I had a colostomy for the first few years of my life, had a resectioning of my colon, and lots more surgeries with the GI system. I think I had about 16 surgeries by the time I was 16 years old. Those were major surgeries. And with that, I'd spent over 200 some days in the hospital as well, just in one stint. And so the medical stuff continued to grow, not just the GI issues, but I'd eventually have tethered spinal cord, which is a part of the syndrome, where your spinal cord attaches to your sacrum nerves. And so as you're growing, it causes a great deal of discomfort and pain that the doctors I've been so blessed with found that and have prepared me so well. And so I look at every day as a blessing. I've been able to do so much and have had amazing people guide me through those challenges. And when we talk about the book No Bad Days, I think it's important to know sort of the story of where that name came from. I was laying in a hospital room, and my dad came in after one of my first back surgeries, and he said, "JT, I'm so sorry for what you're going through." And I turned to him and I said, "Dad, it's okay. There are no bad days. There are only hard days, and we get through those with the good Lord." And I know as a youngster that wasn't me saying that. That was the good Lord just confirming to all of us that, we get through those hard days.
Yeah. And as your dad's jaw drops with like, wow, right? Just because, I mean, dude, that's no little thing. That is a huge thing. And you're sitting here today with a smile on your face, right? Do you still face health issues right now?
I do. I do. A lot of my stuff was when I was younger, but as I've gotten older, there's new things that appear, and it's a constant maintenance. But I just spent this past October and this past November and January doing some more procedures and surgeries as well.
God bless.
But getting through that is it's all good, and just keep a positive outlook on things.
So, where does this come from? How do you keep a positive outlook on things, really? Because, I mean, those are hard things, to use your word. Those are hard days, and nobody would
Yes.
deny that. But yet, there's something that's gone on in your attitude and your mind and your spirit that has enabled you to sit where you're at today, even to do the things that you're doing and enjoying life, but also blessing others. And we'll talk about your foundation in a minute. But what is it? What is it that happened in you that gave
Yes.
you where what you got today? 'Cause that's amazing.
Well, I really do feel that I was blessed with, a relationship with the Lord very early on in life, which gave me an amazing outlook on my journey. And I always, think of this story that sort of gave me perspective too, where my dad and I were walking through the hospital, and I would look into this one room in our hall, and I'd say to my dad, that boy, he's not as sick as me. And then I'd walk a little further down, and then we'd say, that boy, he's sicker than me. And, a week later, every day you're doing your walks, but a week later you come back and you're walking down the hall and you look into those two rooms, and both of those boys are gone. And you realize that, one was discharged and the other one had gone to see the good Lord. And it puts life into perspective early on, just how precious every day is.
Wow.
So why not have a great attitude about it and wake up with a smile and go out and share your story, because we all have a story to share to help others.
That is so profound and true, and encouraging if we'll hear it. So here's the other question, because you could have just say, like, look, I got a lot of hard days, so on my good days, I'm gonna make the most of them for me. But no, we have this URL. I'll pop right there. It's the jtmestdaghfoundation.org. What made you decide, and tell us what you do also, but what made you decide, okay, I'm on my better days where I'm functional, I'm going to help others.
Yes, I think that, this goes back to my journey again, and with the medical stuff. But one thing that I had found was it was so hard to get medical equipment for myself covered by insurance. And the medical devices that I use on a day-to-day basis, and that's just another thing, that I do every day is have to do a medical treatment. But the catheters I use, the drip bags I use, the syringes, and the solution, the insurance companies don't cover. And so when I was in high school, in college, that's when I really realized that this is something that I'm not the only one struggling with. And I would love to be able to give back and help others in the same situation. And I was very blessed in my circumstances and with the doctors I've had to be able to be connected with them to be able to help others. And so it's just been an amazing journey for sure.
So what happens when you show up? Do you show up, or do you just supply things without actually being? I'm sure you don't show up all the time, but do you show up sometimes for the people that are in need with the goods?
Yeah, so I'll give you a little description of what the foundation does.
Okay.
So we have sort of two main pillars. We have the medical side, which is the medical supplies. We also support the Ronald McDonald House night stay program to allow families to stay the night while their children undergo medical treatment. And then we have the second pillar, which is education, and that's near and dear to my heart as well. With my dyslexia and my success that I've had with the TADM reading program, we help the TADM reading program go out and to train teachers and tutors to help young children as well. And so those are the two main pillars. And then overall, I look at it as we have a faith-based organization where faith goes out with all that, and we, pray about everything that we do. And then with that, the supply side of things, we work with the doctors and they find the families that are in need and they supply them with those supplies that we purchase for them. And we've been able to meet some families, but of course, because of HIPAA and stuff, we
Yeah,
can't do
right.
all of them, but it's been a blessing the whole journey with it as well.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the book, No Bad Days, written by a guy with dyslexia. Right. All things are
That's right.
possible with God. Right. The book's available now. But so when you have had the ability, the privilege in a sense to be there with someone and they hear your story and they see you and yet you're there to help them in their difficult time. What happens? I got to imagine some really cool things have happened during those times.
Yes. So some of the stories in my book really highlight what you just asked. And I think one of the coolest stories is now a dear friend of mine, someone I didn't know at the time. I was going up to a place in northern Michigan and speaking, and I got a message from a mom who said, my child's going through, or my young son is going through some challenges, and he has surgery coming up this Monday. And with that, I said, well, just whereabouts do you guys live? And it comes to find out that they were about 30 minutes from where I was going to speak. And only the good Lord could do that. And so I ended up being able to go meet this guy and spend some time with him. And for me, it's just as beneficial as I think that it was for him. It gave him a new perspective on getting through the surgery and just having a blessed, healthy life, hopefully after that, and taking his best steps forward. And for me, it did the exact same thing, just giving me this overwhelming excitement to be able to hear someone else's story. And that's something I talk about is sharing your story a lot. And that I think has been a tool that has helped me throughout life as well.
I love it. I love it. And the story continues. Now, what did you, if you want to tell everybody, what did you do? I don't know, this morning or yesterday? Like, what did your day? What was it comprised of?
So I am right now. I I've my book out now, and with also my love and for sports, extreme sports. I have been skiing, and we're doing this thing called skinning, which is where you put a material in the bottom of your ski and you are able to have your heels release and you hike uphill. And so we have an upcoming event for my foundation at the end of April, April 12th, we start. And we will be skinning from Aspen, Colorado to Vail, Colorado. And this will
Whoa.
be about 100 miles
Yeah.
over 6 to 7 days. And this is, again, a fundraiser for the foundation. And so I'm very excited to be doing this with something I like to call my wolf pack or my tribe of people. And these individuals are dear friends of mine that are taking on this challenge with me.
Between Aspen and Vail, I know this. It's not flat, JT. I don't know if you're aware. There is not. When you say uphill, there's a lot of uphill.
It
And
will be.
yeah, so I mean, this is something, frankly, that I mean, this is why God gave us ski lifts, right? It's just so we can ride up and you ski down, and
Yeah,
that's the glory of it. But you
that
do.
is.
So here you are doing it, and this is not all. In fact, I was recently in Nairobi, Kenya, and just south of the city is a place called Mount Kilimanjaro, a place I know you've
Oh, yeah,
seen, right?
I do.
You get out and you do hard things.
I think that, one thing that I've learned in my life is with the medical, I've had, individuals tell me, JT, you won't be able to do this, or you won't be able to do that.
You don't listen.
And then and then I've had people in the education space that have said, JT, you won't be able to do this or that or graduate. And so one thing I love is maybe taking my best foot forward to try my hardest to maybe prove them wrong or something. But one thing I love is being in the outdoors, and I find that to be the time that I have with God out there, and no technology, just focused on the task at hand and that relationship being in God's country. wherever that is in the world.
Yeah, yeah, we're everywhere in the world apparently with you. I mean, that is awesome. And I love the attitude of when man tells you you can't or you're not, but you know that God is a different plan, and you got to decide. I mean, was it just in you, or did you have to go, oh, I won't ever do this thing physically? Did you have to kind of go, yeah, I will? Or was it just sort of something where you just literally just didn't listen?
I think that my parents did a great job when I was growing up with the fact that first off, they're my number one role models and being able to bless me with so much of just having this encouragement that they always gave me, and
Mm,
they never allowed my challenges in life to impact like my things that wanted to try or do. And so, whether that was sports in lower school or high school,
mm.
playing lacrosse, things that with back surgery, maybe
Oh, yeah. That's a
maybe you have to
contact
be
sport.
careful. But long story short is basically they had very much so given me this guidance and really put me in the right direction to have a love for the outdoors. But
Yeah.
then there's been other mentors in my life too. And someone I talk about in my book a lot is Ladislav. And he is the gentleman that's doing this 100-mile skinning event with me. And Ladislav is a dear friend who has taught me about ice climbing, skiing. He's started out as a ski coach, and now he's climbed Kilimanjaro with me, and he's done many more fun feats together. So very blessed to have the mentors I've had.
So, realistically, there are things that I know I will never do. I mean, I grew up playing football and baseball, but I grew to love hockey at an older age, and I got friends of mine that are my age playing in these old leagues, and I'm like, I don't think it's wise for me to get out there on the ice at my age and lack of skill level, because I would probably blow a knee, or my friends had his own back surgeries from playing ice hockey, and that's not even his job. It's like, so
Yeah.
to recognize, I don't know if limitations is actually the right word, but to recognize that you're not just out there doing everything actually takes wisdom and maturity. But to recognize when God has said yes, and it doesn't matter what anyone else says, takes a spiritual sensitivity and courage. I don't know. Do you have any insight as to how you know the difference? Because sometimes it can be a little hard.
No, it definitely can. I think one thing is like you said, common sense and uh, being able to recognize what you shouldn't do, and that's been very important in my parents' life too. They've always weighed the pros and the cons of everything, and then for me, that I've learned from them that as well. But I think that the good Lord, he when the right door is opened and the good old saying of like one door's closed, the other door's opened.
Mhm.
I think that he definitely will put obstacles in your way, and that's when you have to really sit down and sit back in prayer and recognize what is his mission for you.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that is a challenge, because we're responsible to hear God's voice and act on it. Hear and obey, and to hear it, you got to know it. So you got to kind of know the person speaking, right? Which is
Of course.
really the point. And but then you just do what he's called you to do, and you don't necessarily look at the way things may look, but you got to have eyes to see what God's showing you. So
Yeah.
that
I
that's
think
always a challenge. Go ahead.
I think that, one thing that I've realized is there has been so many, like in the education space, when I was told, you won't be able to read or write. And then, I look back at that moment and the person who told me that, and that was an emotional time in my life. But what I learned from that was even bigger and better. And that was the fact that, the good Lord had a plan for me.
Yeah.
And his plan was not for me to be in that school, but to go out and find a new school that had a program that would bring me and to blossom and learn to read and write, and now write books. So there you go. That's,
Yeah.
again, God closing a door that needed to be closed and opening a new one for you.
I love it. And it just goes, and it's funny because it's as Christians and in the church, we'll quote these scriptures, we'll say all these things, but then when it comes time to do it, we get, oh no, or and it's just hearing people like you just go, oh, okay, yeah, God does do what He says He'll do. He is faithful and He is more than capable. And why would I even waver? Why would I doubt? But I get it. The struggle is real. I want you to be real quick. This is the website for the JT Mestdagh Foundation.org. If you're listening and not watching and you're trying to find this, Mestdagh is a unique last name. It's JT, and then Mestdagh is MESTDAGH Foundation.org. So that's for you guys listening on the podcast sites. Here's my last question for you, JT. And I mean, you're a young guy, so you probably don't think about this as much as somebody like I do, right? Which is, when you get to the end of your race, and I don't mean the one across the mountains, I mean life,
Yeah.
right? And you someone else maybe looks back, and they remember you, right? What do you want people to say about you?
I think that the biggest thing I would love for people to remember me as and stuff is the fact that I hopefully always brought joy to the table, and I brought encouragement and joy, and I was there with them every step of the way, whether it was when they're in their deepest, darkest moments, or helping them, to get to the summit of that mountain too. And so that's my goal, is just to bring joy to others, and to bring that joy with the knowing and love for the Lord too.
I love it. Keep doing it. You're doing it. You're doing it. And
Thank you.
having some good days, I'm assuming.
That's right. Yes, no bad days.
I love it.
Those hard ones we push through, and we get to those great ones.
All right, man, I appreciate you. Thanks for taking the time to share with us today. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
All right, you guys. Okay, the website, by the way, the website says by reaching up and reaching out, and I love that. That's it. I mean, that's the God and the people, and there's love God with all your heart, soul, mind, love your neighbors yourself. The whole, that is the structure of things. And if you don't have this part, the reaching up, I would encourage you to reach up today, because that's how you'll be able to reach out. That's how you'll be able to, as JT said, push through those hard days, so that you can say you have no bad days. So take courage from this wherever you're at. And you do check out the foundation, the JT Mestdagh Foundation. If you want to go support them and what they're doing, they're just helping people, and you'll never go wrong doing that. So hit the share button. Encourage someone else today. And if you haven't liked, followed, or subscribed here at Life Today Live, I would invite you to do that and come back. Check out the book. It's available right now. We'll see you again next time here on Life Today Live.
To receive Him and to receive the healing for body, mind, and soul.